Who is your most memorable musician? Something like, of course, I'm sure there's so many. Or
It's a tricky question to ask me to choose.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because it would be unfair for so many.
Right, yeah.
The thing is, I remember so many musical highlights of things that seem impossible and then happen. So I've had different experiences within the orchestra or in front of the orchestra or in the recital or chamber music. And I have had memorable experiences in places so different as Berlin Philharmonic, for example, but also on the road in recital or in concerto. And I've heard this coming from big names, but also from people who I don't even know their name.
Yeah.
And there's one note in the Carter concerto of vibraphone. It's just like, oh, and comes in a context where the harmony suddenly gives a overwhelming and simple feeling, but of joy and fulfillment, you know. And when this comes, then it's a good concert. So, of course, there are many magicians who are able to achieve this kind of concert. I came to Berlin Philharmonic when I was 22, and the conductor for the next 10 years was Claudio Abbado, so obviously he showed us the way. He was the one to integrate the new generation, my generation. Many people. It was Albrecht Meyer, Stefan Dorr, Wenzel Fuchs, Marie-Pierre Langlamet, Kolja Blacha, and Rainer Kussmaul in the concertmaster, Janne Saksala in the bass, Ludwig Quandt and the cello, plus many other. Dominic Vollenweber was also in the trial period, and many other sectional players in the same time in the trial periods. And this for 10 years like this, we changed half of the orchestra. It was a renewal after the post-war generation was retiring. And it was the job of Abbado to introduce, show the way to the new one, and get the old ones moving on also, and playing together. And I think he managed actually pretty well. So this is a kind of magician thing. And in those years, Carlos Kleiber came to the orchestra, and it was quite unique. So I played one time with him, Brahms 4 and Beethoven Coriolan. This was amazing. But I also have amazing sound memories of playing Mozart concerto with François-Xavier Roth once. And actually it was a concert in memoriam Alain Marion, 10 years after he died. And it was so emotional how he was conducting and how the second movement, how the G major concerto, you know, the two flutes in the orchestra and the slow movement and the solo flute, the sounds grow together, and at a certain moment you have three flutes sounding together, like Trinity. There's only one piece in Mozart literature, in the full Mozart, this one, where it happens. And it's a kind of celebration of some kind of spiritual connection that is, I find, overwhelming. Then we have to be, in the same time, emotional and professional, because we have to go on playing and breathing and not shaking the sound and this kind of thing, but we have to be abandoning ourselves into the music, and it's not us playing the music, it's the music playing us, you know, in a way. So when this happens, it's amazing. I had this experience also, the Debussy Sonata, with our amazing Marie-Pierre Langlamet on the harp in the Berlin Philharmonic, and some viola players in the Salon de Provence Festival, which we do every summer in southern France. Where the sound was so magical. It was this light where after a beautiful day in the Provence, and the sun gradually goes down, and these notes were finishing in the night. And then after this last low C note, you just hear the bells of the church next door is going bang, bang, repeating the same note. And it makes a connection that goes with the acoustic, because it's open air in a castle with the four walls like this, that goes far beyond a connection to the world, you know. It's not a closed space, it's an open world for the music. And so it's just three instruments playing so softly, but it becomes so powerful. This is amazing, stream of energy. When you sense this kind of thing, I think you're in complete state of nirvana. And this is moments of really amazing happiness. But now if we're talking about players dead or alive, you know, but beyond the flute also, I've had amazing experience listening to the young violinist Kyung Hwa Chung, for example. in some performances like Saint-Saëns concerto, Vieux-Temps concerto, Elgar concerto. Amazing playing, virtuosity, balance between intensity and musicianship and commitment and technical mastery. All these recordings, I grew up with this time.
Yeah.
This is just, I would love, if I could play the violin, this would be my dream to be playing like this, to be able to play like this. And also, of course, conductors. For me, Maria Callas, even though it's not always perfect, particularly in the later years, but she has something that is so touching and so, for me, so in the same time breakable and powerful. And this I sense also in the Kleiber interpretation, also in the Furtwängler interpretation. When you listen, the sound quality is poor, but you hear an intensity and a drive that makes you crazy. Pianist Benedetti Michelangeli also. It's not a question of rubato or style or this kind of thing, but the intensity of the playing, the direction, how it's hypnotizing, and how you forget about everything. Basically, this is then when the magic happens.